We are connoisseurs of theory. We are collectors of wisdom, hoarders of information. We live in the greatest library in human history, a digital Alexandria where all the world's knowledge is just a click away. We read the books. We listen to the podcasts. We study the frameworks. We watch the videos. We collect quotes about how to live, how to be strong, how to find peace, how to be resilient. We curate them. We share them. We admire their structure, their elegance, their truth. And this feels like work. It feels like progress. We mistake the knowing for the doing. This is the great paralysis of the modern age. We are the most educated, most informed, and most intellectually prepared generation to have ever lived. And we are, perhaps, the most lost, because we have become masters of the argument, but apprentices of the act. We spend our lives in the lecture hall, in the library, in the endless scroll of theory. We spend all our time analyzing the blueprints, perfecting the map, debating the path, and we never, ever take the first step. The end of a year approaches, a time for reflection, and with it comes the quiet, cold dread of the unlived life. Another year of arguing, another year of preparing, another year spent defining the person we want to be, but not being them. How do we break this spell? How do we close the vast, agonizing gap between the person we are in our minds and the person we are in the world? The answer is not a new theory. It is not a more complex system. It is a command. It is a single, hard, crystalline truth from a man who had no time for theory. A man who was not a professor, but a general. Not a debater, but a judge. Not a scholar, but an emperor. His name was Marcus Aurelius. He sat on the throne of the most powerful empire on earth. His life was not an argument. It was a relentless series of actions. He was faced, every day, with the chaos of war, the treachery of politics, the tragedy of plague, and the crushing weight of responsibility. He had no time to waste in the library of abstraction. His philosophy, the book we call the Meditations, was not a book of arguments. It was a prescription. It was an operational manual for his own soul. He wrote it to himself, by candlelight, in a war tent on the frozen frontiers of the empire, to remind himself not what a good man is, but how to be one, in the face of that day's brutal reality. And in that journal, he left himself the ultimate, final instruction. A command that cuts through all of our preparations, all our excuses, all our paralyzing analyses. A command that is the very soul of Stoic philosophy. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Let us live inside this sentence. It is, perhaps, the only meditation we will ever need. It is the end of philosophy and the beginning of it. Part 1. Waste no more time arguing. What is this arguing that we must stop? It is the comfort of the abstract. It is the safety of the hypothetical. It is the endless circular debate about the perfect system for productivity, the true meaning of courage, the right way to be a friend. We do this because, in the realm of argument, we are safe. In the library, you cannot fail. You cannot be criticized. You cannot be hurt. You can be a potential genius, a potential hero, a potential saint. The argument is a fortress we build to protect ourselves from the terrifying, messy, and deeply uncertain reality of the act. It is the fear of being a beginner. We would rather be a master of theory than a clumsy, fumbling apprentice of reality. We refuse to learn to paint because we are afraid of the first ugly canvas. We refuse to start the business because we are afraid of the first failed launch. We refuse to have the difficult, honest conversation because we are afraid of the imperfect, painful outcome. So we stay in the arguing phase. We plan, we research, we optimize. We spend our lives drawing the perfect blueprint for a cathedral, but we are too afraid of the mud, the sweat, and the heavy lifting to ever lay a single stone. We have become architects of imaginary lives. The modern world is a grand theater for this arguing. Social media is not a place of being. It is a place of seeming. It is a stage where we perform our virtues. We argue what is good by signaling it. We post the quote. We adopt the label. We join the righteous crowd. We perform the appearance of a good person. And all the while, our character, in the silent, unobserved moments of our real lives, is left untended. We are masters of the argument, the performance, but we are strangers to the act. We waste our lives in this argument, in this performance. And as Seneca would say, while we wait for life, life passes. We are waiting. We are arguing. We are not being. Part 2. B1. This is the pivot. This is the command to leap from the map into the territory. This is the call to leave the lecture hall and enter the workshop. Because character is not an idea, it is a craft. Aristotle, centuries before, laid the foundation for this. He taught that our purpose, our eudaimonia, is not a state of mind. It is an activity, energia. He taught that virtue, arete, is not a principle you understand. It is a habit, hexis. How does one become a good man? The same way one becomes a good carpenter. You do not become a carpenter by reading scrolls about the theory of wood. You become a carpenter by picking up the saw and the chisel. You become a carpenter by doing carpentry, badly at first, then passively, then skillfully. You become a brave person, not by arguing what courage is, but by performing a single, small, courageous act, and then another, and then another. You become a disciplined person, not by designing the perfect morning routine, but by being disciplined, by winning the battle against the blanket, just for today. You become a good friend, not by holding a theory of friendship, but by being one by picking up the phone, by listening without judgment, by showing up when it is not convenient. B1. This is a command that drags philosophy from the clouds and roots it in the mud of our daily lives. It is a command that respects only the present moment. Arguing is an abstract, timeless, future-oriented activity. Being is an act of the immediate present. Now, this is the ultimate confrontation. The unlived life is the one spent in the abstract. The lived life, the only life that matters, is the one assembled, action by action. The good man is not a title you are awarded at the end. He is a choice you make in this very moment, and in the next, and in the next. This is the great, final secret of the Stoic path. It is not an intellectual pursuit. It is an embodied one. It is not about what you know. It is about what you do. It is not about the complexity of your thoughts. It is about the simple, profound integrity of your actions. As the year closes, we stand at a threshold. We can look back at the type to enter text 12 months of arguments, of theories, of preparations. We can be gentle with ourselves for the time we spent in the library, for the fear that kept us from the workshop. But the new year is not a time for a new argument. A New Year's resolution is the ultimate arguing what a good man should be. It is a plan, a theory, a grand, abstract pronouncement, and that is why it so often fails. The Stoic does not make resolutions. The Stoic is. The choice is not to be a disciplined person in the coming year. The choice is to be disciplined when the alarm rings tomorrow morning. The choice is not to be a kinder person. The choice is to be kind. In your first interaction of the day, you do not have to argue about what a good year should be. You just have to live a good day. And then you assemble a good year, action by action. This is the final challenge of the emperor. He is looking at us from his cold tent on the edge of the world, having spent his entire day being an emperor, being a general, being a philosopher, being a man. He is looking at us with all our books, all our podcasts, all our theories, and he gives us this simple, devastating, and liberating command. Stop preparing to live. Stop theorizing. Stop arguing. Begin. Be one. The walls of this citadel are new. Our journey here is just beginning. If these words helped you lay the first stone, join us and continue the work. The year ends. A new one begins. May you find the strength to not just know, but to be. From all of us at the Inner Citadel, we wish you a virtuous and peaceful new year.